You know, when we think about libraries, we might picture these quiet rooms, just endless shelves of books. But what if I told you there's a quiet revolution happening inside those walls, and it's all being powered by artificial intelligence? We're going to dive into how AI is completely reshaping one of our oldest institutions. And believe me, it's way more than just a fancy new digital catalog. This is a fundamental shift in how we find and use knowledge itself. Okay, so before we can really get a picture of what the library of the future is going to look like, we first have to understand the massive challenge they're up against right now. It's a real digital dilemma. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually, physically, walked into a library? Seriously, think about it. For a lot of us, our relationship with libraries has totally changed over the last decade or so. And that change? Well, it's right at the heart of the story we're exploring today. So here's the core of the problem. We are absolutely drowning in information. The source material for this analysis actually calls it a deluge of digital resources, which I think is just the perfect phrase. All of a sudden, the traditional methods that libraries have relied on for literally centuries, they just can't keep up. They desperately need new tools to survive and, to stay relevant in this digital world. So that brings up a pretty big question, right? How on earth do you even begin to map something as huge and complicated as AI's influence on library science? Well, it turns out researchers have this really fascinating method for tracking the flow of ideas. It's almost like they're creating a map of knowledge itself. And the key to this whole thing is a field called bibliometrics. Now, that might sound super technical, but it's basically just a way to map out the landscape of scientific research by analyzing publications, citations, and keywords. The slide calls it academic cartography, and that's a great way to think about it. And this is not a casual process, not at all. To really get to the core of the issue, these researchers followed a super rigorous four-step filtration process. They started with this massive pool of documents and just systematically narrowed it down bit by bit to get to only the most relevant, high-quality studies. And this flowchart really shows you the incredible scale of this investigation. I mean, they started with a sea of over 5,600 documents. After filtering everything by date, by language, and even using an AI screening tool, they managed to distill that massive number all the way down to a core, focused dataset. And that final dataset contained exactly 252 core studies, all published between 2018 and 2022. This number, this is the foundation for everything we're about to see. This is the paper trail that we're following. So we have our 252 core studies identified. Now it's time to unroll the map and see what this investigation actually uncovered. This is where it gets really interesting. This word cloud gives us a fantastic first glance at the landscape. Right away, you can see the dominant themes jumping out at you: digital libraries, learning systems, machine learning. But notice how the word libraries is still right there, smack in the center, grounding the entire conversation. But when we drill down into the specific numbers, the story gets even clearer. The term artificial intelligence appears 126 times. That is more than double the next most frequent terms. This shows that AI isn't just part of the conversation about modern libraries. It is the conversation. And this graph, this just illustrates the trend over time perfectly. Just trace that steep red line for artificial intelligence. While other topics show some steady growth, the focus on AI has absolutely exploded. This isn't a slow burn, it's a rapid acceleration. Okay, so we know AI is the dominant theme, but what does that actually mean? What are the specific topics being discussed, and who are the people doing the talking? Let's take a deeper dive into the map. So this is a thematic map, and it's a core tool in bibliometrics. It might look a little complicated, but it's pretty simple to read once you know what you're looking at. Basically, the horizontal line shows how central or important a topic is, and the vertical line shows how developed or mature it is. And this lets us categorize themes into four really distinct quadrants. So think of it like this. The bottom right quadrant, that's where you find the foundational, basic themes like machine learning. Then the top right has the motor themes. These are the hot, central topics that are really driving the field forward, like natural language processing. Then you've got your specialized niche themes in the top left. And finally, the emerging or maybe even fading topics down in the bottom left. It's a really powerful way to see the entire structure of the research field at a glance. Now, this slide tells a really cool story of evolution. On the left, you can see the core themes from 2018 to 2020, stuff like computer science and information services. Now, just follow those lines over to the right to the 2021-2022 period. You can actually see how those foundational ideas branched out into more modern, specific applications like neural networks, automation, and knowledge graphs. It's a visual history of ideas.
You know, research isn't just about ideas, it's about people and communities. And this map shows us those communities. Each colored cluster is a group of researchers who are all in conversation with each other. They're citing each other's work, building on each other's ideas. It's such a powerful visual reminder that knowledge is not created in a vacuum.
So, we've followed the paper trail, and we've mapped the entire research landscape. So, what's the destination? What does this map tell us about the library of tomorrow? The takeaway here is unambiguous. The data shows that AI has moved way beyond being just another tool in the toolbox. It is now the central, driving force of change, and it's fundamentally altering the core functions of what a library is and does. And I want to leave you with this really powerful quote from the study's authors. They aren't just observing a trend here, they're calling for a paradigm shift. They're arguing that embracing AI isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely essential for libraries to survive the digital age and continue their vital mission. So I'll leave you with this thought. This transformation is already underway. The next time you visit a library, whether you're walking through the doors or just visiting their website, think about the invisible intelligence that's shaping your experience and ask yourself, what will my library look like in the age of AI?